younger, I used to dream my brain in my dream because bullying and shit and just that I hated life because nothing was ever going my way. And so therefore in my dream it was like me being able to do exactly what I wanted to, what I couldn't do during the day. So if I could fly, I could swim, I could have sex with people that I who would never look at me twice at school. I could do anything. And there was just I was free to the point where I used to spend all day sleeping and all night where it became too unhealthy. And I used to be going to bed at 5 and then getting up at 1, and I used to spend so much time dreaming. And then as I learnt to meditate and cured my Tourette's through meditation, I realized that we only dream based on what our thoughts are during the day. So if you've got no thoughts during the day, then there's no thoughts during the night because when you're asleep, you're the same person, whether your eyes are closed or not. If there's any brain activity in your brain during the day, it's going to be in there during the night. It doesn't just switch off. And so if you have none during the day, you'll have none during the night. And I find that I don't dream anymore because I don't think during the day. Of course, I choose to think, but that continuous washing machine thoughts of just chatter, that commentator all the time, that doesn't exist anymore. And I don't dream as a result. Like, I can't tell you the last time I dreamt or what it was because I just literally fall asleep within, say, 5 minutes. And literally, it's like uh, lost. Just all the way through, close my eyes, and I'm awake and I start again. And I find that if you dream, your sleep drags out. Like your brain knows that it's dragging out. So you're looking at the clock, it's 2, then it's 3, then it's 4.
That's basically like how I sleep. I find like I still dream so intensely. Even especially last night, I had really I don't know, all my dreams are just so vivid. And just like you, I used to sleep so much because like I went through basically the same thing with, childhood bullying and, well, even as an adult as well when I became an adult. But I've always felt like I kind of traveled in my dreams, if you get what I mean. Like, it's like I'm not actually like in this realm, I'm somewhere else. I don't know if it's like astral projection or whatnot, but to me it actually feels like I'm not on this earth when I am dreaming. But that's super interesting with you saying how, and you get up and it's like 8 hours later. And with me, and like I wake up quite a bit throughout the night, like I always have, especially at certain times. And I was actually told by someone that when I wake up at a certain time that I'm actually supposed to get up and meditate at that time. So I think I am going to be, trying to do that to see if it helps.
See, that's the thing is that people have told me or used to tell me that same type of thing, right? That
Mm-hmm.
4 a.m. is your miracle time when you're supposed to get up and meditate and all that nonsense, right? Which is true. Every person is unique, but that's the general idea of getting
Yeah.
up and starting your day early. So therefore, because you've been up since 4, you're going to be even more tired the next night that you'll sleep all the way through. So my mum always wakes up at 4, okay? And she will go back to sleep. And I keep telling her, get up. Get up. For one day, you're going to have to be really tired for an extra hours, for example, if you'd normally get up at, say, 8. For one day, you're going to have to be extra tired, but it kills the pattern. It breaks the cycle. If you keep waking up at 4, that's your body clock. It's fucked. It's like it's at 4, and it shouldn't be. It's like a clog jammed, right? The only way to remove that clog is to get up, wait all the way through. You crash at, say, 6 when you normally do, whatever, rather than, say, I don't know, 8 o'clock, and you just hold out until your bedtime. Don't go to bed earlier because you might as well have gone back to sleep an extra 2 hours if you go to bed earlier. You need to be that extra tired, like when you're jet lagged. When people go on holiday, they're so tired at, say, 2 in the afternoon that they nap. And then they go into a deep sleep by 6, and then the bedtime's at 10, but their body's ready to get up and start the day at 6. And so you're up during the night again. So it's the same as jet lag. You need to get up when you wake up. Don't go back to sleep. You'll be really tired the next night that you'll sleep, hopefully past 4 o'clock. It might take a few days, weeks to break that cycle, but eventually you'll be so tired that you're going to start getting up at 5 and then 6 and then 7. And then once you have broken that cycle, you go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time. And me, I used to go bed differently every single night, depending on the night before. So if I went to bed really late, I'd get up really late. If I went to bed really early, if I couldn't be asked to get up, I'd just wake up late. So I'd have like 6 hours and then 10 hours and then 12 hours. And you look at the sun, it comes up pretty much besides 2 minutes at the same time every day, and it sets at the same time every day. Yeah, human beings are getting up when we want. Even animals, they get up when
Yeah.
the sun rises. So that's why people have so many problems sleeping. And so yeah, you should get up at 4, not try and get back to sleep looking at the clock. Well, fucking that's 4:30, 5. Might as well get up now. Get up at 4. The meditation bit is about just calming your brain before it starts chattering and starts charging up. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what the meditation thing is. You don't need to meditate, you can just start that cycle, but it's all about that slowing down for waking up early in the first place, because it's like you had stuff to do the night before. Your brain's dying to wake up, so it's not really sleeping. It just wants to start what you were doing again. Hence why I used to go to bed even later every night, because I had so much shit to do. But yeah, that really is. I can swear by that, because I have done what I'm saying. My mum hasn't done it. I did that, and now I wake up at literally the same time every day. 8:30 and 8:14, and I go to bed at 12 every single day at the same time on the dot. I'm literally religious. 15 minutes 12, I'll wake up 15 minutes after, say, 8:15, which means my whole day's fucked. This means I have a shower later, a shit later, I do my teeth later, I have lunch later. You know what I mean? And if our bodies are due to, say, shit at 9 a.m. in the morning, and I've woken up 15 minutes later, I'm going to be shitting at 9:15. So then I have a shower 15 minutes later, and the whole thing is like out of sync. It's
Yeah.
honestly, man. Same time sleep, wake up, same time.
I used to have major insomnia too, um, when I was in my early 20s, and I remember I just would not sleep, and I was prescribed, sleeping pills and all that shit, and it really just made everything completely worse. And it was just kind of like the stress that went on in my life. I think that affected my ability to unwind and be able to get into that REM of sleep.
Yeah, something simple like leaving a TV on. Well, let's just say you're on the couch and you're watching TV, and then you just get really tired and your eyes close. You literally can't keep them open. That's how sleep should be. So, people, they TV, they're not tired. They have to go to bed. They're turning off the TV, but their brain's still active. So, getting into bed an extra hour or two before bedtime allows you to get so comfortable that your eyes will start to shut down before 12 o'clock. And sometimes I have to realize, shit, it's 11:30. I can't go to sleep now, because if I do, I'm going to wake up half an hour earlier, and I'm going to be half an hour more tired the day before. So it's so powerful, sleep. Like, it's the biggest strength for our immune system. And
Yep.
yet people deprive it more than they do food and drink. So the cycle of sleep, like, there is a formula to sleep. And governments, they get told, okay, we need to fix this problem, so they make a tablet, and it's just like, okay, and here's the solution, permanent, temporarily, kick the ball down the line, and then it's someone else's problem. But the actual problem is just understanding, like, why we sleep, what are we guided by, and it's just all to do with the sun. There's nothing to do
Yep.
with the sun's not there. We can't see, we can't hunt, we can't eat, we can't fuck, so therefore we'll just go to sleep. And obviously
Yeah.
fake light and everything makes our brains think that we're doing stuff, but we're no different to the fox who, you know, well, that's a bad example. He's nocturnal, but we're no different to the birds that get up at the sun, and they're in bed by 5 if it's dark.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. And it's dark now for us because and getting into wintertime, and I find like just like talking about the nature too, and that's just shows how much of a disconnect that human beings have with nature, and just like you're talking about, like like the survival and the hunting and just like everything like our ancestors like we used to do, which is still in us to do, like which our body craves to do, but we live in a society that praises people to be so busy all the time, and you know just like work, and that's great. You should work your whole life away and not learn to relax. And I find, yeah, it's such like a huge disconnect with just nature and how human beings are actually supposed to be functioning like we used to.
Yeah, so society's never going to change, because society is run by the people who aren't aware of this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's never going to change. That is always going to be there. So all that someone like us can do is say what we know, and people who are us 10 years ago can know what to do when they get here. Because you're not going to change the societies. People are still going to go to work and work for people because they've got mortgages to pay, because that's part of the system. They have to work because they've got the mortgage, pay the bank loan. They're part of the system. There is no way out unless you sell your house and literally go live with your parents again, in which case you're probably 40 years old and they're either not alive or you can't just move in at 40. They say, what were you doing? You moved out. Yeah, I wanted to start again. I was part of the system. I divorced my wife because obviously too much money down the line. Kids cost me too much. The rent, the council tax, too much. I'm starting again, mum. So you're back at your parents at 40 years old, kind of a part-time job, saving up until you realise to save up enough for a fucking caravan worth 20 grand is going to take 10 years anyway. So then you realise, wow, the system is. So we depend on it because there's no other way unless you get a tent and live in a field. But obviously that's owned by the government and they'll kick you out. So everyone is literally owned by somebody else.
Yeah, we're all stuck in the matrix as people like to call it, really. That's how I feel, especially with everything, that's been going on in our world. It's like even more obvious.
Obviously, like if you don't wash your hands and you've got COVID on it, then it will spread. And killing that from soap is good because then you won't get somebody else. But what's your thoughts on people cleaning all the time, hand sanitizing all the time, cleaning, where their immune doesn't get exposed to not COVID because that's a rare thing, just general viruses and bacteria that animals and everything is exposed to? What's your thoughts on people cleaning so much that they don't have an immune to fight anything because they haven't been exposed to anything?
Oh, I think that's a great question. My thoughts are basically that, people are going, it's just like way too extreme. We're ruining our microbiome and our body. Um, you know, herd immunity is super important, and just being exposed to things daily, like every day, different bacteria and viruses, like we are, made up of more bacteria than we are humans. So I think with that whole, you know, thing being pushed to, I've seen people, they're like leaving their groceries outside, they're sanitizing their groceries, and like just like everything is just so extreme. Um, I never did any of that. I'd rather, expose myself to things and build my immune system up. And then also, having that thought pattern that being so scared of, any virus or bacteria, it just, I think it would just destroy you.
Yeah, that's the thing. The fear of catching it is as bad as getting it. If anything, when you understand what stress and anxiety does to your body,
Mm-hmm.
versus what say COVID would do for say a week, it's far worse. Like I'd rather have COVID than be stressed. And by the way, I had COVID. My mum and dad and grandma had COVID. We didn't get any of the symptoms. I didn't get any of the main symptoms. In fact, that's not true. I didn't get a temperature. I didn't have a cough. I lost my sense and taste for like a few days. My dad didn't get any of those symptoms. Mum didn't get any of the symptoms apart from a cough, right? And so when you think about that, we've all got very strong immune systems and we didn't even get the main symptoms of what most people have. And most people don't have strong immune systems. So those symptoms are their body's way of trying to say something's wrong. So if you've got a strong immune, you won't have much symptoms because you've already done a good job of fighting it. If you've got a weak immune system, those symptoms are your body fighting it. So the weaker you are, the more temperature you're going to get, the more cold, the more you'll lose your sense of taste and smell. When you think about the vaccine, even though it does provide the job, we already have the ability in us to heal, period. So I'd rather have COVID and have the real antibodies than it's like having a handbag that's Gucci versus the fake Gucci, right? I've had the real Gucci handbag. So I've got equivalents of £300 in my hand if I was to sell the bag. You walk around with a fake Gucci handbag, it looks Gucci, but it's worth like 10 quid. If you have a jab, it's the same as taking a vitamin C tablet, a vitamin D tablet, rather than going outside with the sun. The sun provides millions of more benefits than just a vitamin D tablet does. Yeah, I think it's vitamin D, but there's so much more the sun gives versus a tablet. The antibodies from that COVID is far more powerful for, say, an extension of COVID, like when it divides and what's that word? When it becomes a different form of it. Every year there's a new flu. It's the flu
Yeah.
version before and it upgrades. If I have had COVID, if it upgrades, I've already done the main work to fight it. So I just have to kind of do a small upgrade like on my iPhone rather than the massive iPhone 14 to 15. It's like iPhone 14.1. If you take the vaccine, yeah, you might fight the COVID for that moment, but once that's out your system, it's gone. Like that is what is fighting the COVID when it's in your system. And once you flush it out, you've got no protection. At least when you have the actual COVID, you've got the actual antibodies there waiting. So again, it's like vaccine does the job, but it's just temporarily. And the real problem is weak immune system from people living with no sleep, shitty diet. So I'd rather have the actual thing. And I said to my parents, you want to get it whilst we're in lockdown, you do not want to have to get the vaccine.
Yeah, I have so many thoughts on all that stuff because I've always tried to do everything a little more natural in life. I have gone the other way with, being on pharmaceuticals for mental health and stuff, the doctors have pushed on me. And, I was in that mindset back then when I was younger that, this little pill is going to fix every problem that I had. And, it didn't. It just made everything worse. And it wasn't until, well, at least it did for me. I mean, of course, there's a time and place for things like that. I don't shame anyone for, taking things like that. But for me, like it ruined my stomach. And, and that's where your microbiome and everything is. And that comes down to, just everything that's going on right now. Just like you're saying, like everyone's sanitizing everything so much. They're afraid to go outside. They are not in the sun. And just like you're talking about, like vitamin D, which is like a fake hormone that people are taking, but they won't actually go outside and be in nature and breathe the fresh air and have the sun on their body. So
I also don't wear suntan lotion. I haven't wear suntan lotion since I was 21. So before then, obviously I'm under my parents' thumb. We go on holiday, suntan lotion. It's just you follow the pattern, wear suntan lotion. And so obviously in Spain, because it's hotter than England, I did used to burn, but that's because I'm spending 2 weeks in the sun with no top. Even animals at the hottest part of the day go under a fucking tree, right?
yeah.
They're in the morning. As soon as it's hot, they go under a tree. What humans do is they go to the beach. At the hottest part of the day, they go to the beach, they strip off, and they have a beer. So there's no hydration, and then they fucking burn, and they wonder why they get skin cancer and die. So I don't wear sun cream anymore. But at the hottest part of the day, I go back indoors. So I go outside until the peak, and then when the peak comes, I'll go outside. So I'm not there at the hottest part of the day. People get skin cancer because they are fucking like they're putting themselves in the oven too hot, right? It's like you slow cook a chicken, it's not going to burn. You could fucking cook it for 10 hours, it's not going to burn. If you put it right in the oven at 200 degrees, it's only been in there 5 minutes, but it's burnt on the outside. We're no different to a chicken. So things like sun cream, again, it doesn't do any benefit. I don't believe any man-made medicine really has any purpose and benefit. It's all to do with money. Everyone can heal themselves by understanding the problem in the first place. But suntan lotion, what a load of nonsense. Factor 50, factor 60, factor 70. What the hell is this little bit of fluid? How the hell is that going to protect you against this powerful sun that's created everything, right? It's just nonsense. It's the long length of time you spend in the sun which burns you, not the fact you don't have any sun cream on. And I used to think to myself, well, my uncle lives in Singapore, right? You've got Indians and Chinese people all around the world, hot countries. I don't see Pakistani people and Indian people constantly white, right? They're not constantly white, they're brown because they're just their natural skin. And when they get exposed to the sun, their pigments change and they stay brown, right? If a white
Yeah.
person was to go in India now, yeah, they probably would burn, and over generations they would build tolerance. But those people, their skin it can absorb it. It's like when they say don't wear black because it will absorb the sun, wear white because it will reflect the sun. Well, their body is so dark that it will absorb it, and that's it. It just absorbs it. It doesn't do anything. So, and you think, well, why is it that these people live in hot countries who don't wear sun cream all the time, but yet white people don't really live in a hot country and they wear sun cream? Again, it doesn't make sense. It's just nonsense. Everything nonsense.
Yeah, they would also have a little more melanin in their skin too. And like I don't wear any of that crap either. I don't believe in it. It's just like you're loading your body up with all these toxic chemicals that just literally get sucked right in through your skin. And then you go in the sun, and then it just activates it even more, and you're baking the chemicals onto you. So I think being smart with the sun is important, just like you said. Like, if you're going to go out at 1 in the afternoon, 2 in the afternoon, you probably are going to burn if you're not used to it. It's
You are going to burn.
obvious.
Like, that's how it works. Like, you're not supposed to be out at the hottest. But again, animals, they go under a tree at that point. So while we
Mm-hmm.
outdoors, especially, they've got fur, we've not got any fur. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that's a good answer to immune and trying to fix everything. What question comes to mind right now?
I don't know. I have probably about like how you feel about, just like everything going on, like how you cope with the things that go on, and how, maybe your views about everything.
So I just continuously do me. I've
Yeah.
always done me, and I always will, and I'm still doing me. Like the outside hasn't changed for me. I do my podcasts, I do what I do, watch TV, I do my trading online, I go for walks. I used to go to the gym, that's closed, so that's pretty much the only thing that's changed. But there's my pattern. I don't have any friends, so I wasn't going out anywhere. Didn't have much money to go out for dinner and do stuff to buy clothes. So my life hasn't really changed. So
Mm-hmm.
again, the only thing I can say is just do you all the time. Find like your default things that make you feel good. That is like if you could have that forever, what would it be? Would it make you happy? So going to the gym, watching TV, going to work, walking your dog. If that's like the four main things that you'd happily do forever, then that's what you need to continuously do. If you have friends that want to go out and do stuff, that's an extra, not something you need, but it's an extra. And you'll find that the
Mm-hmm.
more you do things by yourself without people, the more when you go out with these people, you don't want to be out there. You want to come back home because it's just your energies of somebody else's energy. And even though they're your friend and they might add additional like happiness and shit like that, they're not the same as you, and therefore they're probably going to be a drain on you. And so therefore you'll
Mm-hmm.
come home and just do your same cycle. And I think that so many people, they go out to find this extra feeling coming from childhood and school, always being with people all the time, what we're doing on the weekend. It's just the pattern. Like people are just
Yes.
following, doing something again, and it's just they're not even happy. So just doing
Mm-hmm.
your things that make you happy first, and then other stuff can be an addition versus again just seeking on the outside for these main things. So for me, it's not really changed anything. Like I know it's just another flu. I've got a strong immune. You want to be exposed to it because you're probably not going to die from it. So just get on with your life. Once you've been exposed to it, you're not going to be in fear of touching every handle and everything outside and washing your hands a billion times because you've already had it, which means you've got antibodies for it, which means you're not going to get these symptoms. You can still give it, but you're not going to react from it because you've already
Mm-hmm.
gone through that cycle. And again, people are scared to go on a low for the high. They're scared to like love. They're scared to love because of the low that might come. People are scared of, oh, what if this happens? So I'll just stay here. It's the same as trading. Like I'm scared to invest because it might go down, but
Yeah.
it's always gone up. Like for fuck's sake, don't let the fear take over what your instinct knows, which when it happens, you say, I knew I should have done that.
Yeah, and I think the fear thing is it's huge, especially like I don't watch any of the mainstream media. I never was that type of person to, really get into any of that. My dad always watched the news and he always had it on, and I always thought it was stupid, to be completely honest with you. I always had different viewpoints, and even when I was in school, I guess like the programming that they wanted to drill in me didn't really work. So, I've always,
Hmm.
questioned things. I've always been more of like a critical thinker, and, sat back and actually, evaluated things and thought, well, does this feel right to me? Does this resonate with me? And with all the fear mongering and everything that's going on, I just don't want any part of it. And I think it's beautiful to be able to be with yourself and not rely on someone else to fulfill your happiness, because that's only just a temporary thing. When you get back home, you're stuck with yourself again. So you better learn to love yourself and appreciate yourself and be grateful for, the gifts that you came into the earth with.
What do you think of the school system? And because it is created for people to work for the establishment, that's what it was created. Like, I can't be asked to do this work. I'll teach you how to do it. He'll teach you because I'm not going to teach you. I can't be asked because I'm over there. So here's what he's going to teach you, and then he teaches them, and then they work for you, university, doctor, lawyer, whatever. Do you think the education system is going to change, or can it not change because that's society and civilization over? Because it's been built on that. So people like us at school are fucked, basically.
Yeah, and that's funny because my dad was a teacher. He was a teacher for over 30 years. He just retired about a year ago. And people always thought I had a special treatment because my dad was a teacher, but like I did not fit in at all. I had learning disabilities. I did not learn the way that they taught us. I would sit there and be like, why do I have to learn this? Like, I know for a fact I'm not going to be using this when I'm older. I just did not fit in. I would love to see the school system change. I think more people would have to awaken to the fact that, that programming that has been going on for years isn't, it's just not doing things anymore. That, like, we don't need the same people coming out of school every year. We need more people who are, awake to the fact that our world needs to wake up and change. So I would love to see a change. Do I think it's going to change anytime soon? I don't know. Maybe if more people start questioning things in our world.
So, like, let's just say 60 years ago, main jobs were English, let's just say lawyer. Maths was, I don't know what maths people do, right? Bad example. Scientists are doing like science and shit like that. Then you've got, say, craftsmen, because people used to make houses from wood. Then you'd have religion, and then you'd have music, PE, the main things, right? Because that's all there was really to go into, right? Over the last 50 years, obviously, because of online, there's billions of jobs, and yet the school system is still teaching the same 12 jobs that our grandparents were doing. Literally, like, our grandparents would have had the same topics, right? No joke, maths, English, science, whatever. And so if the government's changed the system to suit like IT, business, entrepreneurship, law of attraction, love yourself, self-healing, there wouldn't be any businesses and governments because everyone would know what we know, and we would need anybody. So it can't change. So the only way it would change, and I don't think it's going to be in our lifetime, if it was going to change, is if the people demanded these topics, and over time you'd have like self-love, mental health, law of attraction, how to make a business, how to use the power of the mind, thought frequencies. You eventually, they'd have to add that, because when people rise up like Black Lives Matter, you got to take action, because when there's enough movement, you have to take action. So eventually they'll add all these topics to school. Eventually governments and all these people, corporations, they simply won't exist, because they need the basic companies, they need the basic skill sets, like English, IT, lawyers, and shit like that. Well, no one's going to be studying that anymore because there's no money in it. They're going to be studying how to like make a computer online. And so all these big companies that we have, like shopping centers and food centers, they're going to die down. And now you've simply got individual people making their own money by themselves online, where like the whole of the society is going to change. No one's going to be out working for them. Everyone's going to be indoors, autistic in their own brain, literally on the computer, like for fuck's sake, the guy in a wheelchair just recently died with his, like, he has a my name is Michael, whatever it's called. Yeah, everyone's
I forget his name, but
yeah,
yes.
everyone's Stephen Hawking. My name is. Everyone's literally going to be like that, and so like that is the only way it's going to change. Government's not going to change it. We're going to demand change, and then when we get what we want, which is like this now, no one's going out. Nothing exists. So we're literally a cave, a one man in a cave, and the next man's in his own cave, and the next man's in his own cave, and the next man's in his own cave. It's almost like going back to the day where an elephant comes across another elephant from another tribe. You don't recognize him, so you push him away. That's the only way it's going to change. Or the world just ends, right? What's your thoughts on that?
I definitely believe like like my views on the government and everything. Like I definitely believe there's obviously corruption in it, and I don't look at my government as a savior. I never have. And, you know, I've never put my energy in something like that either. Like, I just, to me, I don't understand why people do. I can't comprehend it personally, but I feel that, you know, there is a reason why the school system is the way it is. You know, they want people to come out and, you know, be obedient to, you know, the jobs that we have, and, you know, not think about different things, and, you know, fit into that cookie cutter box. And, you know, if you step out, you're pointed at, you're made fun of for being, you know, slightly different. And I don't know if, like, they want more critical thinkers or more people who question the society coming out. So unless you said the people rebel, they realize that, you know, what has been done to us, I'm not too sure, like, if it is going to change anytime soon in our lifetime. Maybe the next generation that comes in. But I even feel with our generation, there's still quite a few people who don't, you know, they just kind of go along with everything, and they don't stop and question things. What are your thoughts on that?
So governments are for the weak and dependent. So in anywhere in life, ants, wasps, elephants, humans, energy, okay, there's always a bigger animal, right? And they always lead. Governments are essentially the leaders of a small tribe of humans that had too many people following him, that they started to rebel, and so now there's too many followers that can now take down the leader and say his two sidemen, right? So the bigger animal and the two biggest animals, yeah? To the point where they would lose in a fight. So now they're like, look, you've had all the land. I want some land. Okay, what land do you want? Give me that corner. Okay. Okay, I want, and someone else, like, I want some more land. All right, we'll give you some more land. That's politics. That's policies. We want to have equal rights. Okay, fine. Black Lives Matter. Fine. Okay. Housing. Okay, fine. Money for the poor. Okay, fine. We want to have this. Okay, fine. For disabled benefits. Okay, fine. Right. Everyone gets a bit. So now the more people in those, like the followers, the tribes, who see the other follower getting something, they want something. So now you've got all these written policies. Obviously, as time goes by, the main leader passes away, and you're just left with the policies that the leader put into place. And then as time goes by, there's more followers, more people. The kings and the people in power eventually die. So now you're left with, literally like in American politics, 50, 70-year-old people in the Senate, right? Because they've all been there for so long, right? That change will never happen because they are part of the power. They are the biggest people in the pack, not the biggest where they had the actual control. They're not the smallest where they're following. They were part of the bigger people, right? So they're doing it for themselves, but they realize the people are piping up, and if you don't throw them a bone, then you're going to get essentially kicked out, right? That's where the guns come in, because one person can have a gun and take down millions of humans, but if there was no gun, that one person has no chance. So you just give it to them. So the people in power are always going to be doing it for them because they've come from the line of powerful minded people. It's a mind thing, right? They have the knowledge of how it all works. That's power of the mind, yeah. So when these people, so basically it's always going to be for them and for the people. So that's what I'm trying to say. Governments are for the weak meaning the followers. And if anything's going to change, you need enough small animals to take down the big elephant in the pack. And that only happens when there's enough followers fed up of, why has he got that land? And this person's got a bit of land, this person's got a bit of land, vegan movement rights, Black Lives Matter rights, fucking everything rights. They're like, okay, well, I want suntan lotion rights. All right, give them that. And then eventually the person in power, aka government, has lost so much control. They don't know what rights they've given to. Elephant rights, fucking tree, don't chop down the palm tree rights, yeah. Laptop rights, 6 toes rights. That they just, that's when it, like, the civil wars happen. You know what I mean? And I don't think that it's gonna do a dip. I don't think that it's gonna change. What will happen is like a big bang. Too much energy creates an explosion. The only way it changes is if there's a war, civil war, basically. But if you look at like Palestine and India, you look at Pakistan and India, so Pakistan and India, Palestine and Israel, California and America. It's when there's too many people and they're not following the leader. California is going to become its own country within America in the next 20 years, I'd say. And like they're trying to get Palestine back to Israel. You're not. It's too many people. India, Pakistan, separate. When there's too much like energy, there's a big bang. So there's not going to be, okay, well, we're going to put all these things in school for you. And it's not going to be, put this in school for us because you like fighting over, it's like a dog fighting over a bone with another dog. It's just going to go boom. And then there's two. So there's two systems. There's, if you want to go to school, great, work with the system. If you don't want to go to the school, then just fuck off. Like, do your shit, okay, and let them do their shit. They're going to work for us. And if you want to make a business, fantastic. And that's what I think can happen.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation to even have because everyone has different points of views about everything that's going on, and some people are quite happy with just following everything and not thinking outside the box. And as for someone like me, it's just like I've always been that way, and it's like the older I get, the more I even just like sit down and I think about it and I evaluate just everything that has gone on and just everything that I am seeing right now. But I do think it's beautiful. More people are starting to, I guess, like wake up from the slumber that we have been into, the, like I said, like being in the matrix and kind of realizing like, oh shit, like I've been literally doing the same thing every day of my life and not questioning anything.
Yeah, that's yeah. Right, what other question comes to your mind?
No, probably like how you find, like you were saying, you kind of like stick yourself and you do you. What would you recommend for people to do at this time to level up and help expand their consciousness?
So I'm right now for the first time. I might have listened to it 7 years ago when I had an awakening whilst I was sleeping because I used to play YouTube all through the night. But I don't consciously remember listening to Think and Grow Rich. It's 13 hours long. It's an audiobook and I can't read. So I'll have to listen to it, right? So I'm listening to it at the moment. And one of the things he was saying is, and it's the same for me, when I first read The Secret or listened to The Secret, it was like, holy shit. This was what I was always on about at school, which no one understood. What he was saying was, it will either resonate because you've already got that part of the secret in you, which is just to live your life from inside out, or it won't resonate. So you could give the book to 1 million people, almost like 95% of them, they wouldn't understand. It wouldn't click, nothing would register. But for the 5%, you and me, whatever, it would be like speaking to our subconscious mind that we'd always had since we were a child. And it's like, Mum, Dad, this is what I was on about. I told you all this stuff. What are you on about? No, but this is what I was on about. Look, this book, like this person, it's what he was saying. Like, but in our heads, we didn't understand it, and so we just talked to our own voice in our head because it understood, but no one else did. So hence, I don't know friends. And it was saying that it will either resonate with you or it won't. So the people who are not awakening, they won't be listening to this because they wouldn't understand this anyway. So the people who are listening to this have that secret in them anyway. So from what I did was I just read The Secret. I'm listening to Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, the Alkovitz. I haven't read that book. I might have listened to it, but those types of books are basically people who understood how life worked, who think like us, and they put it into one massive, like 40-year book of their life. So what people are going through now and what we went through, they went through and they wrote a book about it. So when you read that book, you'll be like, oh my God, this was me. Everything that I'd always said is here. So read these books and it will trigger off stuff if you are ready and you're on that journey. If it doesn't trigger off anything, the chances are you're not ever going to be on that journey, because what you're saying is that it's always in you anyway. You're either going to do you or you're following. There's no between.
Yeah.
You either out in the nightclub getting drunk or you're at home reading the book. You can't be like on the motorway like, okay, I'm not sure they're going to come yet, like going up and down the motorway like, am I going to go or not? There's no between. So that's
Yeah.
all I can really say to that.
Yeah. No, I believe, I believe there's no in between really. Either you're either like it's either inside you, like you said, it resonates with you, or you just don't understand it at all. And I'm very like grateful that I have always understood it. But I did grow up differently too. My mom was very spiritual, healer, always, let me be who I want to be, which I think is beautiful, because I find a lot of parents do try to put you in this cookie cutter mold and say, this is what you're going to be when you grow up. And, I'm very fortunate that I did not go through that like some of my friends did. And, I see how differently they think compared to me. And, I'm very grateful for it. Also, The Secret, I love the book, The Magic, too, that goes along with The Secret. Practicing daily gratitude every day, I think really changes your brain.
So the book's called The Magic.
The Magic, yes. And it's
Is
by
it
the same
anything?
people.
Rhonda Byron or something?
It's by the same people who created The Secret. And I think it's great. Every day you do a different little exercise. And
Is there an audiobook for that?
I'm sure there is. I'm pretty positive. I think it's great. Because it definitely changes your outlook. I've done it, and I was thinking about doing it again, because you wake up and you do it, and then at night you do it as well, and it just puts you in that mindset to be things that you didn't even realize you're grateful for in life.
Obviously, let's just say Christianity was created by Jesus, and Jesus made that up based on the voice in his head, called it God, whatever. Yeah. So what the Think and Grow Rich book was saying, and is that when you pray, you are affirming things. You're repeating the same things. The power of word, the power of writing it down, reading it, whatever. So you're affirming it. So these are vibrations, and essentially you're just keeping yourself in tune with that vibration of love, forgive, don't hate, don't kill. Okay, I won't. You're staying on that frequency. And it was interesting because I never saw it as that. I saw it as Jesus sees what I saw now in his day. He calls it God, I call it consciousness, whatever. But when they said in the book, it's about affirming, that was interesting because I never saw it like that. When you pray, you are affirming. So when I learned all this stuff and listened to all these audio books, The Secret, it's like, right, well, I've made it. I've read the book. I know what to do now. But reading the book or listening to the book when you go to bed, listening to, say, that book you mentioned, even though you've read it, keeping listening and reading these books and praying and meditating and writing on the board and getting up and doing these things in the morning at night time. It's that affirmation. Like naturally, you will start to dip if you don't go to the gym every day. You're going to start to feel lazy and you won't be able to do as much in the gym. So you've got to keep like at least doing a jog every day. So doing all these books, listening stuff before bed really is powerful. Like I've only recently, over the last month, started to fall asleep to, say, Bob Proctor, because I listened to all of that shit when I was 21 every single night, and I woke up and everything was just holy shit. It's like everything was like I was thinking and it was happening and money was coming and everything was amazing. And over the last few years, I've been trying to get back there and I just haven't been able to. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I need to go back to what I was doing, nothing to lose. And no joke of a lie, my entrepreneur mindset, my ideas, everything is coming back because it's triggering off stuff in my brain when I'm asleep that was triggered off when I was 21. So just by playing videos during the sleep, Power of the Mind, Think and Grow Rich, Bob Proctor, that book you mentioned, when you wake up, for some reason, your brain is different because it's been listening to this stuff during your sleep. And that's when you start to wake up at 4 o'clock because you're so like, oh my God, I need to get stuff done. Yeah. That you're supposed to get up, right? Not go back to sleep. That's why they say it's like when you wake up at that time, it's like a blessing in disguise because you're the chosen one. Like you've got something trying to come out of you, this energy trying to come out of you. Whereas most people, they've got to get up for work and work for the boss and they just want to sleep because they've been like, they're just tired. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's beautiful. And I wish more people realize that they could have like an entrepreneurial mind, and that's something that isn't taught in our school system, unfortunately. Like I remember I didn't even know like anything about it until my early 20s, and I was like, oh, what, like you can do that, really? Like yeah, it's just like I feel like there's so many things that are inside of us that we have the potential for to unlock. And just like you said, listening to stuff like that and having it repeated and being programmed in us just unlocks those little doors that we didn't even realize we had to accessing you know, that full potential that we have come into the earth already with, but we just have forgotten.
What would you say is more powerful to yourself, truth or what you wanna believe and what everyone else already believes?
Oh, always been the black sheep. So I would definitely say truth.
See, what one would want to believe is that school systems will change and they would be able to consider people like us who were always different. The truth is that school systems aren't going to change because an entrepreneur is somebody who's a black sheep who can't
Yep.
just get a job, so he's got to create himself, right? And then he gets
Yes.
somebody to work for him. He doesn't want some retard to work for him, so he wants somebody who's qualified, somebody who's gone to university, who's been part of the system, right? And he hires people who have been part of the system because you don't want some retard to do a shitty job. So if they specialize in accountancy, maths, lawyer, then you're going to say, well, she can clearly do that. She's going to work for me. So an entrepreneur creates, and the system works with the entrepreneur. So in our situation, the truth is that if we wanted systems to change, so if we could live our life again, we would fit in. It's not gonna. That's not how it's gonna work because entrepreneurs and businesses are created by people like us who go left and others go right, and then the system works for us. Because if it didn't work for us, we'd have to do it ourselves, and we're not going to
Yeah.
be running our own business and cleaning floors and shit like that. Because how are we gonna live this luxury lifestyle if we're spending all day doing it? Like we wouldn't have any time to even take a shit. So then you think, okay, the truth is that the system is never going to change for people like us because people like us create the systems that people not like us work for. And so that is the truth versus what we would want to happen. And I find that so many people like believing Jesus is going to come back. It's not the fact that he is or he isn't, right? Because if you think, okay, 8 billion, no, fucking 20 billion human beings on the planet, why is Jesus the only human being that when he's dead is going to come back? Like, out of all the human beings and all the ducks and the dogs and dinosaurs, why would he come back? And if people ask themselves realistically, would I come back if I died? No. Unless Jesus was an alien, is he likely to come back? The answer is no. So it's the belief that he might that makes you move forward. It's the belief that, okay, be nice if the system protected people like us, that gives us comfort. Because the fact is that if you think I'm never going to see Jesus again, or when you die, that's it, it is quite scary. Like, is that it? I'm not going to see grandma again, not going to see Nan again. No, you're not. Oh, that's shitty, isn't it? Because it was the hope that I was that comforted me when she died. So you can see how truth is so tangled with what we want to believe. Because the truth is that everything is essentially a lie. Medicine, everything, love, fairy tale, husband,
Mm-hmm.
wife. It's everything it's the truth is that it's all nonsense. But we want
Mm-hmm.
to believe that people would get divorced and they get married again. It's like you know you're going to get divorced again because you haven't worked on yourself. You've attracted the same
Yes.
person. So what do you expect to happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah, this, I think when everyone, like, we all tend to fall for the illusion that life likes to play out for us, and that's like such a good point that you just said.
Thank you
That
so
was,
much.
yeah, that was great.
Yeah, because it's like yeah, it's just people they want to believe because it makes them feel good, but the truth is it's not real. So then it comes down to how does it benefit your life right now from admitting or accepting the fact that when I die, that's it, and everything I want to do, I've got to start doing now, versus,
Mm.
oh, there'll be an afterlife. If I don't do the stuff now, I'll always have another chance. How does that benefit you not doing anything, thinking, oh, I'll do that again, versus, shit, I'm going to die and there's nothing I can do about it. I've got to start doing it now. Like, what benefits you the most? And I find that so many people, including myself until recently, trying to live longer. All these massive ways, secret diets, extra sleep, special bath oils, exercising, to live longer, rather than, okay, I'm gonna die, just do what you're gonna do now. And actually, somebody called Tom Bilyeu on YouTube, Impact Theory, he has all these great people on gut microbiome, special water, filtered water. And then he had a realization no matter how much good stuff people tell me, I'm still going to die around the same time. And rather than trying to live for billions of years, I'm not living now. I'm accumulating all this knowledge of how to live. I'm not even going to get a massage. I'm not even going on holiday. because I'm too busy in my studio learning from all these great, intelligent people. And that was me. I was learning so much shit that I wasn't doing anything. All these ideas in my head, I wasn't creating them. And then I realized, wow, this thing about truth versus what you want to believe. It's like I used to dream so much because in my head I had a massive house, massive car, massive, I had a girlfriend, all type of shit. But I wasn't doing anything. I didn't need to because it felt so real in my head. Hence why you
Mm-hmm.
said you like going to sleep because you can fly, you can do what you want. Because the reality
Yeah.
is that life is shitty, life is tough, it rains and it's sunny, there's wars, people get killed, people die, there's lack of food. That's truth. And then, but when you face that truth, then you really have control over everything because the fear is the unknown, but everything is the unknown. Everything.
Yes. Yeah. And everything is the unknown. And I feel a lot of times, we have a hard time holding ourselves accountable to things in life. Just like you said, like, we're always searching and seeking for something to, improve ourselves. But really, all we have to do is look within and just learn to be more present in the moment with everything that's going on. And instead of like being so stuck in your head and thinking about, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, or I'm supposed to be doing this next week, or I'm not, at the place that I wanted to be in my life at this time, or comparing yourself to your friends or people that you see online, which is another deadly thing that us humans like to do.
Yeah. I remember when I was 21, I started again. I had so much brain activity, Tourette's, shit all over my room, laptop full of stuff, phone full of ideas, wiped everything, binned my laptop, wiped my phone, binned everything in my bedroom, meditated so much that I lost my Tourette's. I started again. And everyone's chasing this vibration, this it's just energy everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
things everywhere, and people are chasing this. Okay, then I'll be happy. You're not going to be happy. You just literally got to cut ties. It's like, okay, if I think this one last thought, if I have this one last cigarette, then I'll stop. You're never going to stop. It doesn't know how it works. Life keeps creating more. And then, so when you realize that, you've got to stop thinking, stop buying shit, cut the cord. That's it. It's
Yeah.
like if you want to perfect your sleep, get up at 4. But then when you're at 4 o'clock, you're like, oh, it feels so good to, it's too cold to get out of bed. I'm just going to lie in a little bit. And the other day comes around and you're still doing the same shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what I think, holding yourself accountable for things is really important, and not, putting the blame on other people in your life for, the way you are.
Right. So we've got some more stuff to talk about next time. Let's end this on a high. Anything you want to promote? Website, social medias.
Yeah, you can just follow me on my Instagram at I am Jocelyne _. I just finished my health coaching program through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. So I am going to be starting my health coaching journey, helping people, and I couldn't be more happier about it.
Fantastic. Right. One
Yeah.
sec. Let me just stop this. Wait there.